We're going to go through the behaviour questions in the New Zealand Road Code using the free Road Code Practice website at drivingtests.co.nz. There are 74 questions in total, and we'll break this into 3 separate videos. In addition to checking it's safe to move out from the curb into the traffic flow, how long should you indicate for? Any time you want to perform a manoeuvre, you must indicate for 3 seconds, as that gives other drivers enough time to see what you're doing. When you purchase a vehicle, what should you be aware of? Check all that apply. Unpaid loans. There are hundreds of thousands of cars in New Zealand with unpaid loans, and if you buy a vehicle without the loan being cleared, the loan obligation transfers to you. Some people tried to sell stolen vehicles. Cars may be brought into New Zealand with a suspicious odometer, and that means that the vehicle might have done 100,000 kilometres more than it's showing. And D, the warrant of fitness or registration has expired, in which case you'll be liable to make up for the shortfall in the registration. To protect yourself against this, you can get a vehicle history report, and you can purchase these easily online. You wish to turn left at the intersection. What should you do? The cyclist is going straight ahead. If you speed up to get around the cyclist, then you risk causing an accident. Tooting your horn to let the cyclist know might distract them. The safest way is to slow down and wait for the cyclist to go past the intersection. What class of license do you need to drive a car? Class 1 is the correct class. What does GVM stand for? GVM stands for Gross Vehicle Mass. If you are driving in a funeral procession, what should you do? Cars in a funeral procession will drive with dipped headlights. What does this sign mean? You'll see this sign on the approach to a roundabout. Where would you see this cat's eye? It's a white cat's eye, and it marks the centre of the road. Before making a lane change to your left, you must signal for at least 3 seconds. What else must you do? Check all that apply. The first one, check your blind spots, is important. A cyclist or motorcyclist may be on your left, and they're more difficult to see, so turn your head and check in your blind spot to your left. You shouldn't slow down, you should maintain your speed unless you must slow down because there is traffic ahead, and you shouldn't speed up either. You also don't need to use your brake lights to warn other drivers, that would mean that you're slowing down. So A is the correct answer. What does this sign mean? The chevrons pointing to the left indicate there's a left turn, and the 35 indicates the recommended speed for the corner. C is the correct answer. What should you do if the vehicle behind you wishes to pass? Courteous driving means that you should pull to the left and let them pass. You are the driver of the blue car. Of the 4 hazards marked, which one is likely to require you to take urgent action? Vehicle A is not going to interfere with your progress. Vehicle B is passing straight through. You're following Vehicle C, and you've kept quite a bit of distance. But Vehicle D is turning into the driveway, and it may misjudge your speed and pull across in front of you. Therefore, Vehicle D is the correct answer. When don't you need to wear a safety belt? Check all that apply. If you are reversing and wouldn't be able to remain in control of the vehicle, that's correct. If you're a taxi driver plying for hire, that's also correct. If you are a driver or passenger who has to stop frequently to, for example, read meters, and the vehicle you're in travels at less than 50 km/h, that's correct. If you are unable to reach the controls if you wear a safety belt, that's correct. And if you have a medical exemption from wearing a safety belt, that's correct too. All of those answers could mean that you might not have to wear a seatbelt. You're driving downhill on a steep, narrow road, and a vehicle is coming up the hill. What should you do? Vehicles moving downhill should give way to vehicles moving uphill, and this is because a vehicle moving uphill can stop more quickly. Therefore, a vehicle moving downhill, where stopping distances are longer, has to pay more attention. Are you allowed to pass on the left like this? The answer is yes. There are 2 marked lanes, and if the vehicle in the right-hand lane is travelling slower than you are, and you are within the speed limit, then you're within your rights to overtake on the left. If you have to drive at a slow speed that may hold up other vehicles, what should you do? Courteous driving means that you should keep to the left and let others pass where possible. You're coming up to a railway level crossing. Which of these should you do? Check all that apply. If there are no barrier arms, it's safe to continue at the speed you're travelling at because that railway line isn't used. Half of New Zealand's railway lines don't have barrier arms, so this is not the correct answer. Slow down and get ready to stop. This is a correct answer. Check each way before proceeding across. That's correct too. And only cross if there's nothing blocking your path and there are no trains coming. That's correct. How far can your load extend either side of the centre line of your vehicle? The answer is 1.25 metres. That's because a vehicle has a maximum width of 2.5 metres before it becomes a wide vehicle. You look in the mirror and see a cyclist. What should you do when opening the car door? A. Open it slowly, the cyclist will be able to see and adjust his or her path, is not correct. By opening the door, you may force the cyclist into the path of other vehicles. The same with B. If you open it as per normal, then you may force the cyclist into the path of other vehicles, or they may hit your door. C is the correct answer. Wait until the cyclist has passed. How would you check for hazards before reversing your vehicle? Check all that apply. A. Check your wing mirrors and rearview mirror is a correct answer. B. Look over your shoulder. This covers off your blind spots. C. Get out and walk around the vehicle. This is a perfectly reasonable thing to do, especially if it's dark or you're driving a vehicle that doesn't have good visibility. Be sure any reversing sensors or cameras are activated if your vehicle has them. What's the safest way to drive up to intersections? So look to the right. You have to give way to the right. That's correct. Look to the left. That's also correct. There could be traffic that doesn't see you. Look behind you. You should always be looking behind you periodically and looking ahead of you. Obviously, you're driving forwards. You should always be looking ahead of you. Therefore, E, all of the above, is the correct answer. When must you not open the door of your motor vehicle? The answer here is A, if it's likely to hit someone or something, such as a cyclist. How does alcohol affect your driving? Any amount of alcohol will slow your reaction time, so C is the correct answer. What does this sign mean? You'll see this sign on the left parapet of a bridge. There's a red arrow to the left, so you can't turn to the left. However, you have a green arrow straight ahead. Therefore, if you observe the give way rules, then you can turn to the right on that green light.